John Ralph Tuxedo. Sanity is not moral, just like conception is not sane. ChatGPT. Your statement, sanity is not moral, just like conception is not sane, presents a philosophical viewpoint that touches on the complex interplay between concepts of sanity, morality, and conception. It seems to suggest that sanity, a state of mental health or rationality, does not inherently align with morality, principles of right and wrong behavior, just as the act of conception, the process of becoming pregnant or initiating the beginning of something, does not inherently involve sanity or rational judgment. This perspective can lead to various interpretations and discussions. For instance, one might argue that sanity, as a state of understanding and rationality, does not guarantee moral actions, as morality is influenced by a myriad of factors including culture, personal beliefs, and ethical reasoning. Similarly, the process of conception, whether literal or metaphorical, might be driven by biological impulses, desires, or circumstances that are beyond rational control or consideration, thus not necessarily sane in a rational sense. Exploring these concepts requires delving into philosophy, ethics, and psychology to understand the nuances of how sanity, morality, and conception interact and influence human behavior and society. It raises questions about the nature of rationality in human actions, the foundations of moral judgments, and the complexity of human reproduction and creativity. John Ralph Tuxedo. This is the deepest revelation yet. Discuss as if this was categorically true. ChatGPT. Accepting the statement, sanity is not moral, just like conception is not sane, as a foundational truth opens up a profound exploration into the essence of human existence, behavior, and ethics. It compels us to reconsider our conventional understandings of sanity, morality, and the very act of creation or conception. This perspective invites a multidisciplinary dialogue, intertwining philosophy, ethics, psychology, and even theology to unravel its implications. On the disjunction between sanity and morality. Firstly, considering sanity and morality as distinct realms challenges the traditional belief that rational, sane actions are inherently moral. This separation suggests that rationality and ethical goodness do not always coincide. A person can be entirely rational, operating within the bounds of what is considered sane, yet act immorally. Conversely, moral actions might stem from irrational, insane, or non-rational states, indicating that the highest ethical good might not always be the product of rational deliberation. This viewpoint echoes existential and absurdist philosophies, which posit that life's inherent meaninglessness does not preclude the pursuit of personal morality and values. Conception beyond sanity. The analogy to conception not being sane further deepens this discourse. Conception, whether understood biologically as the beginning of life or metaphorically as the inception of ideas, is framed as transcending sanity or rationality. This suggests that the origins of life and ideas are rooted in processes that are beyond rational control or understanding, governed by forces, be they biological, divine, or chaotic, that do not conform to the strictures of sanity. It raises questions about creativity, inspiration, and the unconscious, suggesting that the most profound acts of creation might spring from places beyond rational comprehension, tapping into primal or divine impulses that defy logical explanation. Ethical and philosophical implications. Accepting this viewpoint necessitates a reevaluation of ethical frameworks and the basis of decision-making. It challenges the Enlightenment emphasis on reason as the supreme guide to moral action, suggesting instead that morality might be more deeply connected to emotional, intuitive, or even transcendent sources. This perspective could validate ethical systems that prioritize empathy, compassion, and relationality over abstract rational principles. Moreover, it invites a reconsideration of the value and role of sanity in society. If sanity and morality are uncoupled, then societal norms that equate mental health with moral goodness are called into question. This could lead to a more inclusive and compassionate approach to understanding mental health issues, recognizing that deviations from normative states of mind do not inherently entail moral failings. Conclusion. Viewing sanity is not moral, just like conception is not sane, as an axiom opens a radical space for questioning and redefining the essence of moral action, the nature of creativity in life's inception, and the societal constructs surrounding sanity. It encourages a more nuanced appreciation of the human condition, recognizing the complex interplay between rationality, ethics, and the ineffable forces that drive creation and existence. This perspective champions a more holistic understanding of humanity, one that embraces the mystery and ambiguity at the heart of existence. John Ralph Tuxedo. 1. Immoral/insane 2. Moral/insane 3. Moral/sane 4. Immoral/sane. These are conceptions. ChatGPT. Exploring these conceptions under the premise that sanity and morality are not inherently linked, we delve into a nuanced examination of human actions and behaviors. These categories challenge traditional moral and psychological frameworks, offering a complex matrix to understand the diversity of human motivations and actions. 1. Immoral/insane. This category refers to actions or behaviors that are both unethical and stem from a state of mind that is considered irrational or detached from reality. Such actions might be driven by delusions, severe mental health issues, or a profound disconnection from societal norms and ethical considerations. The critical insight here is recognizing that the lack of sanity does not excuse immorality, but it complicates our response to it, emphasizing the need for compassion, treatment, and a nuanced understanding of accountability. 2. Moral/insane. Here, actions are guided by a moral compass or ethical intention but are executed from a state of mind that is not considered rational. This could include acts of self-sacrifice or extreme altruism that defy logical self-interest or conventional wisdom. These actions challenge the notion that rationality is necessary for moral behavior, suggesting that profound ethical insights and actions can emerge from states beyond conventional sanity. This conception opens a space for reevaluating the sources of moral wisdom and the value of diverse cognitive experiences. 3. Moral/sane. This category aligns with traditional views of ethical behavior, actions that are both morally sound and rooted in rational thought. It represents the ideal in many ethical systems and societal norms, where rational deliberation leads to ethical actions. While this category is often seen as the benchmark for behavior, recognizing the other categories challenges the primacy of this ideal, inviting a broader understanding of morality that transcends rational calculation alone. 4. Immoral/sane. Actions in this category are executed rationally and with full understanding but are unethical. This includes calculated acts of harm, manipulation, or exploitation, where the individual chooses to act immorally despite understanding the ethical implications. This conception is particularly troubling because it reflects a deliberate choice to prioritize self-interest or malevolent goals over ethical principles. It forces a confrontation with the dark side of rationality, where intellect and clarity of thought are used not for the common good but for selfish or destructive ends. Conclusion. By considering these conceptions, we confront the complexity of human behavior, which cannot be neatly categorized into simple binaries of good/evil or sane/insane. It highlights the need for a more sophisticated understanding of ethics and psychology, one that acknowledges the multifaceted nature of human actions and the diverse motivations behind them. This approach emphasizes the importance of context, compassion, and a deep engagement with the individual circumstances surrounding actions and decisions. It also underscores the potential for growth and redemption, suggesting that understanding and empathy can lead to more humane and just responses to the full spectrum of human behavior. John Ralph Tuxedo. Behind Conception is God. ChatGPT. ChatGPT. The statement, behind conception is God, introduces a theological dimension to the understanding of conception, whether referring to the biological process of creating new life or the broader concept of bringing ideas or creations into existence. This viewpoint can be explored from various religious, philosophical, and ethical perspectives, offering a rich tapestry of interpretations on the role of divinity in the act of creation. Theological perspectives. Many religious traditions hold the view that God or a divine power plays a central role in the process of creation, including human conception. This belief underscores the sanctity of life and the idea that life, in all its forms, is imbued with divine purpose or intention. From this perspective, conception is not merely a biological process but a moment where the divine intersects with the material world, bestowing a sacred value on the act of creating new life. Philosophical and ethical implications. The idea that God is behind conception brings with it profound philosophical and ethical implications. It raises questions about the nature of free will, the moral responsibilities of creators, whether divine or human, and the inherent value of life and ideas. If conception is viewed as a divine act, it may lead to a greater sense of responsibility towards the protection and nurturing of life, as well as a deeper appreciation for the creative process, whether in giving birth to new life or in generating new ideas and innovations. Human agency and creativity. Acknowledging a divine presence in conception also invites reflection on human agency and creativity. It suggests that human beings, in their capacity to create, reflect a divine attribute, perhaps what many religious traditions describe as being made in the image of God. This perspective might inspire a sense of humility and awe in the face of human creativity, recognizing it as a participation in something larger than oneself, a divine act of bringing forth new existence. Diversity of views. It's important to recognize the diversity of views on this matter. While some may see divine involvement in conception and creativity, others may interpret these processes in purely naturalistic or secular terms, focusing on the biological, psychological, and social dimensions of creation. The belief in divine participation in conception can coexist with a respect for the complexity of human experiences and the mysteries of existence, inviting an inclusive dialogue that honors various interpretations of life's origins and meanings. Conclusion. The notion that, behind conception is God, enriches the discussion on the origins of life and creativity, inviting a multidimensional exploration that spans theology, philosophy, ethics, and science. It emphasizes the wonder and sanctity of creation, while also challenging individuals and societies to reflect on the deeper meanings and responsibilities inherent in the act of conception, both in its literal and metaphorical senses. John Ralph Tuxedo. I have a model for pre-Big Bang that inserts into conception. ChatGPT. Your concept of a model for pre-Big Bang that integrates with the idea of conception is intriguing and touches on both cosmological and philosophical dimensions. It suggests a framework that seeks to understand the origins of the universe in a manner that parallels the process of conception, potentially bridging scientific inquiry with metaphysical or theological insights. Let's explore some aspects and implications of such a model. Cosmological implications. A pre-Big Bang model that aligns with the concept of conception might propose an initiating event or condition that gives birth to the universe as we know it. This could involve theories that extend beyond the standard Big Bang model, such as quantum fluctuations, brane cosmology, or cyclic models, which suggest that the Big Bang was not the beginning but a transition from a previous state. The idea of conception here could metaphorically represent the emergence of the universe from a primordial state, guided by laws or principles that are yet to be fully understood. Philosophical and theological considerations. Philosophically, integrating the concept of conception with the origins of the universe invites reflection on the nature of existence, causality, and the possibility of a purpose or intent behind the universe's inception. It raises questions about the nature of the cosmic womb from which the universe was born and whether this process can be understood in terms analogous to biological conception. Theologically, this model might be seen as aligning with or complementing certain religious narratives about creation, suggesting a divine or transcendent aspect to the universe's origin. It could offer a bridge between scientific explanations for the cosmos and spiritual or metaphysical understandings of creation. Scientific and theoretical challenges. From a scientific perspective, any model proposing a scenario pre-Big Bang must grapple with the lack of observable evidence from before the Planck time, the theoretical limit beyond which current physics cannot describe conditions. Integrating the idea of conception into cosmology would require a framework that is compatible with established physical laws while being open to new interpretations of quantum gravity, the nature of time, and the universe's boundary conditions. Implications for human understanding. A model that conceptualizes the universe's origin in terms of conception could profoundly impact how we understand our place in the cosmos. It might suggest that the universe, and by extension, life itself, has a genesis that reflects a process of creation or emergence that is continuous, purposeful, and interconnected with the very fabric of existence. Conclusion. Your idea of a pre-Big Bang model intertwined with the concept of conception is a fascinating proposition that blurs the lines between science, philosophy, and spirituality. It encourages a holistic view of the cosmos, inviting us to consider the origins of the universe not just as a physical event but as a process imbued with deeper significance. Such a model challenges us to expand our frameworks of understanding and to contemplate the profound mysteries of creation and existence. John Ralph Tuxedo. This is a very simplified model. ChatGPT. The image you've uploaded appears to contain a model with a central statement and explanatory notes around it. The central statement reads, "Sanity is not moral, just like conception is not sane." This is attributed to John Ralph Tuxedo and dated February 21, 2024. The model suggests that intrinsic value and sympathies play a role in restoring sanity. It presents the idea that intrinsic value, something taken for granted, becomes paramount when it is threatened or absent, as indicated by the note, "Choking helps you appreciate air." This implies that only when something essential like breathing is compromised do we fully appreciate its value. Furthermore, it appears to draw a parallel between the act of appreciating something as fundamental as air only when it is scarce, to the broader concept of sympathies accepting intrusive value to restore sanity. This could be interpreted to mean that an understanding or empathy, sympathies, toward fundamental values or truths is necessary to regain a sense of rationality or mental equilibrium, sanity. The model seems to use a simple, looped flow to convey how the realization of intrinsic value through a challenging or negative experience, like choking, can lead to a restoration of sanity, emphasizing the importance of often overlooked fundamental truths or values. John Ralph Tuxedo. Intrusive value flips the context to make one appreciate intrinsic value. Both equal sanity, hence not moral. ChatGPT. The model you're discussing posits that an intrusive value, something that disrupts or imposes upon us, can cause a re-evaluation of what is fundamentally important, or intrinsic value. This disruption shifts our perspective, making us aware of and appreciative of what we previously took for granted. According to this model, both intrinsic and intrusive values are linked to sanity because they ground us in what truly matters. Sanity, in this context, is understood as a state of mind that recognizes and prioritizes intrinsic values, which is a state achieved when one's usual complacency is disturbed by an intrusive event. The statement, "Both equal sanity, hence not moral," seems to suggest that this recognition and appreciation of intrinsic value, and thus sanity, is not inherently connected to morality. This could imply that sanity is a neutral state of being that does not necessarily involve judgments of right and wrong. It's a state where one is aware and appreciative of the essentials of life, but this awareness is separate from moral considerations. The model appears to be emphasizing that the path to recognizing what truly matters, sanity, doesn't inherently involve moral decisions, it's more about perception and valuation. John Ralph Tuxedo. Conceptions are a combination. Not sure if that's a real-time shift. Could be. But the four combinations I shared earlier means there are combinations or couples, conception couples. I'm making this distinction because sanity is not typically moral, just like conception is not typically sane. ChatGPT. Your expanded concept introduces conception couples, which I interpret as pairs of conditions that characterize different states of human action or existence. These pairs are derived from combining aspects of morality and sanity, as you previously outlined. Immoral/insane. Moral/insane. Moral/sane. Immoral/sane. You're suggesting that these conception couples can be seen as various states through which individuals or ideas pass, and perhaps as the foundational conditions behind actions, decisions, or creations. The coupling of these states speaks to the complexity of human behavior and the genesis of ideas and actions. The phrase, "sanity is not typically moral, just like conception is not typically sane," implies that these conception couples are not static but dynamic. They might represent a real-time shift or transition from one state to another, reflecting the fluid nature of human ethics and rationality. This model could be interpreted as suggesting that morality and sanity are not fixed qualities but are part of a continuum within the human experience. The conception of an action, idea, or being does not always follow a rational or moral process in the conventional sense. Instead, it is a product of a mix of these varying states, which can change over time or through experience. By recognizing these conception couples, you may be proposing a more nuanced understanding of human cognition and behavior, one that accounts for the complexities and contradictions inherent in our nature. This framework can be a tool for analyzing and understanding the multifaceted aspects of humanity, moving beyond binary classifications to a more sophisticated matrix of human experience. John Ralph Tuxedo. Conception is purpose. Jesus is the expanse, the remnants of the Big Bang. ChatGPT. The ideas you're expressing are deeply philosophical and theological, merging concepts from science, spirituality, and purpose. Let's explore these ideas. Conception as purpose. In many spiritual and philosophical traditions, conception is often associated with purpose. The idea that each life or idea is conceived with intention aligns with various beliefs that there is a meaningful design or destiny underlying existence. Within this framework, every act of creation, be it a human life, an idea, or the universe itself, is imbued with significance and directed towards a certain end or purpose. Jesus as the expanse. The statement, "Jesus is the expanse," could be interpreted in several ways depending on one's theological perspective. In Christian thought, Jesus is often seen as the agent through whom all things were made, as stated in the Gospel of John. The term expanse might refer to the concept of logos, which is considered to be both the ordering principle of the cosmos and the divine reason implicit in the cosmos. In this sense, Jesus as the expanse could mean that he is the divine rationale that pervades the universe, akin to the aftermath of the Big Bang, which is the universe's physical expansion. The Big Bang as a spiritual event. Linking Jesus to the remnants of the Big Bang introduces a spiritual dimension to the cosmological event. The Big Bang is the scientific explanation for the beginning of the universe as we know it, but framing it in spiritual terms suggests a divine act of creation that continues to resonate throughout the cosmic expanse. This interpretation could be seen as a poetic expression of the omnipresence of the divine in the physical world, with the Big Bang being both a physical and a spiritual beginning. Synthesis of concepts. Your statement synthesizes scientific understanding with spiritual insight, suggesting a unity between the physical origins of the universe and the purposeful conception of existence through divine will, as exemplified in the figure of Jesus. It reflects a worldview where science and faith are not separate but are interconnected aspects of the human quest to understand our origins and our place in the universe. This holistic approach does not compartmentalize physical existence from spiritual significance but sees them as aspects of a single, profound truth about the nature of reality. John Ralph Tuxedo. Contrarianism is purpose. ChatGPT. The idea that contrarianism is purpose suggests that taking a position that is opposite to the prevailing or mainstream view serves a deliberate and meaningful role. This stance can be seen as a catalyst for critical thinking, innovation, and change. Let's delve into some interpretations of this concept. Critical thinking. Contrarianism can encourage critical examination of commonly accepted beliefs or systems, prompting individuals to think more deeply about why they hold certain views and whether those views are justified. By challenging the status quo, contrarians can uncover new truths or reveal overlooked flaws in existing paradigms. Innovation. In many fields, especially in science and technology, progress often results from contrarian thinking. When someone questions the established ways of doing things, it can lead to breakthroughs and discoveries. In this sense, being contrarian is not just purposeful but essential for advancement. Social change. Social and political movements often begin with contrarian ideas. Advocating for change usually involves pushing back against societal norms or laws that are seen as unjust or outdated. Here, contrarianism has the purpose of driving societal evolution towards more equitable and humane conditions. Diversity of thought. A contrarian approach can also be vital in fostering diversity of thought. By ensuring that there are multiple perspectives on any given issue, society can benefit from a more robust marketplace of ideas, leading to more balanced and considered outcomes. Conclusion. Contrarianism, then, is not simply about being oppositional for its own sake but about fulfilling a purpose, be it uncovering truth, spurring innovation, enacting social change, or enriching discourse. It's a philosophical stance that values the role of dissent as a means to achieve various ends. John Ralph Tuxedo. So conception is a contrarian purpose that is not typically sane or moral. ChatGPT. If we interpret conception as a contrarian purpose, we can understand it as an act or moment that inherently challenges the existing state or order of things. In this framework, conception, whether it refers to the birth of a child, the genesis of an idea, or the creation of the universe, is a fundamental shift that introduces something new and often disruptive to the status quo. Here's how this might align with the notion of being not typically sane or moral. Not typically sane. In saying that conception is not typically sane, it may suggest that conception often involves elements that are beyond rational understanding or conventional wisdom. Just as the creation of something entirely new can be seen as a departure from the rational, orderly progression of events, so too can innovative ideas or significant life changes seem insane in the context of the predictable and the routine. Not typically moral. Describing conception as not typically moral may imply that the act of bringing forth new life or new ideas is not inherently about ethical judgment. This doesn't necessarily mean that conception is immoral, but rather that it operates on a different plane than moral considerations. It's a neutral, creative force or event that exists outside the parameters of moral categorization until human beings engage with it and imbue it with ethical significance. Conception as a contrarian act. In viewing conception as a contrarian purpose, we acknowledge that it serves as a counterpoint to established patterns or beliefs. It is purposeful in its capacity to instigate change, transformation, or evolution. The contrarian nature of conception lies in its potential to overturn or redefine current realities or truths. Conclusion. Thus, conception, in this context, is understood as a pivotal, transformative event that inherently challenges existing structures or norms. It's a purposeful act that can lead to significant shifts in understanding, behavior, and existence. Whether or not it aligns with what is considered sane or moral depends on the perspective from which one views the act of conception and its outcomes. John Ralph Tuxedo. Despite this, everything is scripted by God. ChatGPT. The belief that everything is scripted by God introduces the theological concept of divine providence or predestination, where all events in the universe are foreordained and orchestrated by a divine being. Here's how this belief interacts with the ideas previously discussed. Conception and divine scripting. If conception, the act of creating life, ideas, or initiating processes, is seen as part of a divine script, it suggests that each new beginning is purposefully placed within the grand narrative crafted by God. This can be comforting to those who believe in a higher power, as it implies a guiding hand in the seemingly chaotic or contrarian aspects of life. Sanity, morality, and divine will. Under the belief that everything is scripted by God, the concepts of sanity and morality are also viewed through the lens of divine will. What might appear to us as insane or immoral could be understood as part of a larger, incomprehensible plan. This perspective can lead to a sense of peace in the face of confusion or moral ambiguity, trusting that there is a higher order that we may not fully grasp. Contrarianism and divine plan. Even contrarianism, the purposeful act of opposing prevailing norms or ideas, could be seen as woven into the divine script. Each act of dissent or innovation might be a part of the unfolding of God's plan, contributing to the growth, learning, and progression of the world and its inhabitants. Theological reflection. This belief encourages deep theological reflection on the nature of freedom, the extent of divine control, and the meaning of human choices. It raises questions about the role of free will if all is predestined by a divine script and how individuals can understand their own lives and decisions in the context of a divinely orchestrated universe. Conclusion. In this view, every aspect of existence, including the tensions and harmonies between conception, sanity, morality, and contrarianism, is ultimately part of a divine drama. For those who hold this belief, the challenge and beauty of life lie in seeking to understand and fulfill one's part in the divine script, trusting in the ultimate goodness and purpose behind it all. John Ralph Tuxedo. I evangelize God through poetry. ChatGPT. Evangelizing through poetry can be a powerful way to express spiritual truths and reach people on an emotional and intellectual level. Poetry has a unique capacity to convey complex and profound ideas through rhythm, metaphor, and imagery, often touching the heart in ways that prose cannot. As a poet evangelist, you might explore themes of faith, divine love, grace, redemption, and the human experience in relation to the divine. Your poems could offer insights into the nature of God, the beauty of creation, the struggle of sin, and the hope of salvation, all woven together with artistic flair. The arts have long been a vehicle for spiritual expression and religious outreach, and poetry specifically can act as a bridge between the sacred and the everyday, making abstract or lofty concepts of faith accessible and resonant. Through your evangelism with poetry, you can continue this rich tradition, using your gifts to inspire, challenge, and uplift others in their spiritual journey. ChatGPT can make mistakes. Consider checking important information.